Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Honor Club Wrestling Podcast. I am your co-host RGX, joined this week only by Rate Wrestle. Unfortunately, our good buddy Smooth Rock, aka Frozzy, is out on assignment this week. Not our place to say what and why, just our thoughts are with him. How are you doing, Rate?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm just looking forward to getting into the amazing wrestling I've seen today in Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, it's been an interesting kind of few days of wrestling. Certainly busy over the weekend with AEW stuff as well. But we'll cover the news first of all. Big news story, it's just developing, came to the forefront today, is Kushida has apparently left WWE. I believe it is his contract just expiring, so there is no 30-day non-compete. As always, there's kind of speculation as to reasons or whatever. But a lot of reports, including Fightful, are saying that WWE had expressly told them there was no plans to use him on the main roster. That's likely a big reason as to why he left. I'd imagine it won't take long before he's back in New Japan, either with Strong or back over in Japan full time.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he doesn't go AEW because there's enough now, and his lineage is in New Japan. Like, I'm glad he also didn't go on the main roster because he would have ended up in that 24/7 title crap, and that would have been terrible.
Yeah, poor Jiro though, like no more jacket time.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with him now. Well, that was his saving grace. Kushida was.
Yeah, there's not really many Japanese wrestlers left in NXT, if I remember rightly. I'm trying to think even.
Jiro and Shirai.
Aye.
And Sarai, if she's still around.
Oh yeah, Saray. So word is, and this isn't confirmed, there was a picture taken by Nakamura backstage at a show, and I believe it's Io Shirai that's in the foot cast in it. So
Okay.
WWE themselves haven't commented on any injury status at the moment. We don't know how accurate that is. But yeah, Kushida's away, and can't say I blame him.
Yeah, it's good for him.
Hopefully he'll be back over in doing New Japan stuff in no time. Even better if it's Strong. It'll bolster that US side of things.
Yeah, he's a quality wrestler as well, so it'll be good when he actually gets his chance again. Because the matches he had on NXT were good when he was given a chance.
Yeah, I think the death knell for him was when they were supposed to be making a big deal of the Cruiserweight title, then all of a sudden they combined it with the North American.
Yeah.
He was thrown into a tag team with the other Japanese guy.
Yeah, it was just a waste of talent.
Very much so. But speaking of NXT, there have been yet more name changes. Obviously, we'll discuss Austin Theory's name change in and around the Raw review. But he's not the only one that's either gained or lost 4 names, nicknames, part of a directive issued by Vince McMahon himself. He doesn't want anyone on the main roster going forward. So you're all right if you're already on there. But going forward, anyone that goes up to the main roster can't wrestle with either their indie name or a name close to their real name. So I believe that is the reason for Casey Catanzaro, Kaylee Ray, and Whacking Wild getting name changes this week. Whacking Wild is now Cruz del Toro.
That was Raul Mendoza, remember?
Raul Mendoza, my
Yeah.
apologies. So he is now known as Cruz del Toro, which is a cool name. I believe it will literally translate to Cross of the Bull.
That's pretty cool. That is his actual real name as well, Raul Mendoza, not Cross of the Bull. It's Raul Mendoza, so I can understand where they're going with that. I don't mind if they name change from NXT to Raw now and stuff like that because they don't care about NXT. So why should I?
Casey Catanzaro is now Katana Chance, which the name makes little sense to me. It's certainly not as cool as Cruz del Toro.
Yeah.
But again, Casey Catanzaro is her real name. She competed on American Ninja Warrior, was it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Under that name, so again, WWE want to be able to put their stamp and claim the IP. Can't blame them for that. That's their prerogative. And at least it sounds with 2 out of 3 at least they probably communicated with those stars and come up with a name together. And not just packaged them and went, here you go.
Yeah, you'd hope so, but with WWE, anything's possible.
What makes me think that is Kaylee Ray's new name of Alba Fire. For 95% of the world, they'll be, what the hell? But Alba is the traditional Gaelic name for Scotland. And Fire because she's a redhead. So thematically it makes a lot more sense than some other name changes they've done. However, I can see why they've changed it because her real name is Kaylee Ray.
Yeah.
Of course, Kaylee Ray is her in-ring name, so I can see why they've done it. She's basically wrestling under her real name. Which,
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of major stories this week. We've got one other small story to cover, and that is Great Wrestler is going out on assignment this week to go and see a show that's coming to him nearby. If you want to tell the guys about that.
Yeah, so I'm from Birmingham, as we know from my beautiful accent. And we've got a local independent called Kamikaze, which is, like, I think they're very underrated for what shows they put on, because I think people originally, like, unless you're from the UK, you've probably heard of them, but like everyone thinks of your Progresses, your Rev Pros, but like Kamikazes are they've come out of COVID better than anyone else, I think. Like, they were putting on bangers of shows before COVID, like the talent they were picking up. Like, there's a match, like the one that I pick out mine is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Trent Seven, which is just sounds fantastic. But they had and the one, if the Americans are going to know anything about Kamikaze, is the big match that everyone remembers. It was Joey Janela versus Chantel Jordan, which ended up they were brawling in a chip shop, and they got on a bus fighting. Which obviously wasn't planned because Kamikaze doesn't have the budget of WWE to bring a bus in, so it just randomly happened. But yeah, so it's on Friday the 22nd of April. It's at the Mill Digbeth, so get down if you can, so it's going to be a great card. I'll just rattle off the card, and if you have any interest in RGX, pipe up. So you've got Charles Crowley and a mystery partner versus Experiment in Terror. He's Elijah. He wrestles a lot in Attack Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like LK Mezzinger, I think the guy's name is. He's another Attack Pro guy. That's like a tag team match that they've announced. LK Mezzinger, I did actually get that right. I'm really proud of myself. And then you've got Chantel Jordan, who is a Kamikaze Pro Dojo star. She's one of the ones that come out of the training center, and she's like everywhere in the UK now. Like, she's been on Rev, she's been on Progress. She wrestled, I think it was in Belgium. She was wrestling previously. She appears on the Eve shows, which are the big women shows in the UK. Yeah. And she's fighting Charlie Morgan, who's a big UK star as well. Then another fighting females match is what they call them. You've got Xia Brookside, which is a big pull in the UK NXT. Versus Rio, not that one, but Rio's been around for ages in the UK. She's part of Chris Ridgway's faction, which I think is Northwest Strong, and Maria May, very good. I haven't seen much of her because the first match she was supposed to have, it got cut short, but she's very good. Then the big star from the dojo, I don't know if you would have heard him, Man Like DeReese.
No, I can't say I have.
Been around a bit, like, he's getting huge, Man Like DeReese. He's teams with Dan Maloney. You would have heard Dan Maloney. They're called the 0121 around here because that's the Birmingham Post area code. And he's fighting Carlos Romo, who is a guy from Madrid. He's a great talent as well. And then we've got an import coming over, which is Warhorse.
Nice.
So he's fighting Luke Douglas, who is another UK. He's another dojo guy. Luke's doing incredibly well for himself. He started when I was in the dojo for a bit. He started around about the same time for me, but he's kicked on. He's doing so well for himself. He's the tag team champion, the brand as well. And then you've got like a double main event. So the first is Sean Custom, who is the Kamikaze Pro champion, versus TK Cooper. This is these two matches are pick your poison matches, because the other matches, Chuck Mambo, who picked TK Cooper to fight Sean Custom because Sunshine Machine, and Sean Custom picked Sean Custom picked Chuck Mambo's opponent, which is Clint Margera. Clint Margera is probably one of the most underrated people in the UK in my eyes. Like he was the Kamikaze Pro champion for years. Known as a deathmatch guy, but he can actually really wrestle. But you know when people are slated.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure he's done a few spots in ICW.
Yeah, he's just slated as a deathmatch guy, but he's really good. And he's fighting Chuck Mambo in a beach ball deathmatch. Just to throw in the so basically, I don't know if it was planned, but the crowd was jokingly shouting deathmatch because it was Clint, and then Chuck Mambo came on the mic and went, "Not going to be a death match. It's going to be a beach ball death match." And everyone was like, and Colin, one of the guys that runs it, was just like, "What?" So they booked it into it.
Cesaro is not under contract. He could turn up to burst the ball.
He could be the mystery opponent. So a mystery tag partner. That's what I'm putting my money on. Cesaro is going to be in Kamikaze Pro, so get down there. It's at the Mill, Friday, April 22nd. Tickets are still available that I know of, but yeah, it's going to be a really good card. Really good night.
Cool. Remember and get pictures and tweet them out, and we'll put them out on the Twitter as well.
I'll become Markish with Warhorse, don't worry.
Brilliant. So that's the good wrestling that you've got to look forward to. So let's talk about the lots of good wrestling that we had to watch for this show. We'll start with SmackDown from Friday.
Yeah. SmackDown was the better of the two evils, I'm going to be honest, because Raw was absolute trash. I'm so disappointed in Raw. I just gave up when I was watching it. It was making me sad. But yeah, SmackDown, which was April 18th. I'm just going to get it on my screen in front of me this time. So I'm going to have the screen so I'm not looking this way all the time. It's going to be straight in front of me, kind of. This started off with, which we were going to expect, R-Cade Bro turned up on SmackDown because of the whole Usos turning up on Raw. It was funny with Riddle mentioned Worcester, but not that Worcester. The American Worcester, which I did like, which is Worcester sauce, not this Worcester. Obviously, they were going to call out the Usos. Confirm it's the Usos because they came out to confirm that it's definitely the Usos are coming. And then obviously, what happened is they accepted the challenge, which is going to be at WrestleMania Backlash.
I will say this was possibly Randy Orton's best promo in several years.
Yeah, he felt it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then the Usos attack Riddle at the end as he's celebrating, which was just pretty much a cheap heel. I'm going to attack him and run off kind of thing, which I didn't mind. But yeah, Awesome was great. I'm looking forward to this match because R-Cade Bro have been good and the Usos are always good. And it's not the same tag team match again, which we'll get to on Raw. Happened again.
Yep.
Yeah, that was fine. This led up to Naomi versus Rhea Ripley. So just to confirm from what Naomi says, the glow always outshines the nightmare. After that line, she lost to Rhea Ripley.
I was going to say, not that night, it didn't.
Yeah. So it was pretty much a speed versus strength match, which is what it was always going to be. Like Naomi's trying to out quick her, and Rhea Ripley's as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. Naomi started doing the Bubba Bomb, which I really like. Big fan of the Bubba Bomb because it's just one of them moves that is it's not used as much as it should be because that does hurt. Getting slammed on your tailbone. I wrote here as well, which I don't know if you can decipher it because I can't. It's my own notes. Are it dot Naomi, D-O-T Naomi? I don't know what that means. No idea. Let's continue. So yeah, Bubba Bomb, she got the near fall, and then the riptide from Rhea, and that was pretty much it. Decent matchup. It was pretty. It was average for the women's division, but average is good on Raw and SmackDown at the moment. I'm happy with it. I rate it 2.5. It's a good match for what it was.
Yeah, there was one spot that looked kind of dodgy in the corner where they were going to go for potentially a second rope riptide. But they wriggled loose. It didn't look very clean. It looked like she was supposed to get her up and it just dropped her as opposed to countered it.
Yeah.
Didn't look like a smooth counter, but played into the match well enough.
Yeah, and it was fine. Like, I don't mind if it is singles matches between these because they have good singles matches. But here's a nice rating from Gordon the Whale. And this was crap. There we go. That's already. Naomi is perhaps the most overrated woman in the wrestling history, which is right outrageous.
Yeah.
These pointless women tag bouts are I'm trying to move the camera because it's in the way, so I'm going to put it here. The tag bouts and the rated feuds are so beneath Rhea Ripley, which, to be fair, I agree with that. Rhea Ripley should be doing a lot better than this, which she will be, which we'll discuss in Raw. It's sad to see her being wasted in this spot. It's the only probably thing I agree with, that she's been wasted at the moment. She has the star power, but because you can't have everyone on top, she's kind of been thrown in the tag division for the last year. Nikki Ash, not Jim Cornette's Nikki Ash, Nikki Ash, and then obviously with Liv.
Yeah, that has been the extent of her story, is doesn't get on with tag partners.
So she'll probably go in a faction with 2 male tag partners.
Which I think will be quite good.
I think it will get to the darkness side of her, which will be good. She's good as a heel because she's just cocky and she's massive. So, you know. This was followed up by a Corbin segment, which basically he blames Madcap Moss for his recent run of form. Everything is Madcap. Every heel in WWE blames someone else for everything, which is the perfect heel move. This was followed up by a Madcap Moss segment because, you know, they didn't plan that at all. And Madcap Moss is basically saying he's better on his own, which I think he will be.
Yeah, and the Los Lothario's kiss cam. Like, fade into black on his arse.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
That was a pure Vince line. Like, Vince written all over it.
Yeah, no, he loves it, don't he?
You could just see him in the background, like, that's good S-word. Like, we all
it's
know
good schnitzel.
We all know the phrase. But, yeah.
So then this was followed by Madcap Moss. So we're seeing a lot of Madcap Moss, and he was fighting Humberto of Los Lotharios. So Jorge, our friend, will be really happy, even though he lost. It was just a 3-move match. Madcap hit 3 moves, won, and then they do the typical thing because he won the Andre the Giant. Andrew the Giant, if we're going with at the moment. Andrew the Giant trophy. Now, every time he wins, he needs to pose in front of that. Strowman did it. One that wins that trophy has to do the that pose next to it.
Yeah.
Just grief. I rated this 1.5. It was just 3 moves. It was 2 minutes long, but it was just Cat Mouse winning, which was bound to happen.
If they want us to buy him as a babyface, he needs to get rid of the suspenders.
Yeah. Great on. Yeah. And then this was followed by Gulak, is now an interviewer. I don't know if he was an interviewer in general now, or is it just for this spot to do what was going to happen?
He did one little backstage bit beforehand.
Yeah.
But it was entirely to set up this.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was pretty much Gulak was interviewing Charlotte. Charlotte's pretty fragile. She's saying that she said that Ronda's ego is fragile, which I can agree with, judging by recent events that Ronda goes off the deep end quite quickly. It's things are not going her way. But Charlotte is pretty much in denial. She tapped out, but obviously she didn't tap out, according to wrestling. No one saw her tap out, even though it was on pay-per-view and millions of people saw it. Charlotte's a great heel. She's just an absolute... Just is the perfect, like, cocky, bratty jock. Kind of like female jock in America, where she's great at wrestling and she knows it.
Yeah.
And then this ended up with Drew Gulak walking away, and then Charlotte attacking Drew Gulak and got him in the figure 8.
I mean, to be fair, the way this is built, Gulak did kind of antagonise her a bit with his questioning, but we all saw you tap out and that kind of thing. So he was kind of baiting her, so we all, like, the second he said we all saw you tap out, like, we all knew where this was going and why he was the one doing it. But yeah, like, I thought it was a good segment and achieved what it needed to. Don't get me wrong, I'm not excited for the rematch, but I'm not.
It depends. I don't mind I Quit. I don't mind an I Quit match as well. There's no way Charlotte can lose. I mean, win. There's no way Charlotte can win, surely, unless they do a Mankind flipping the Titantron. I quit.
No, she needs to lose in order to win it back so she can beat her dad's record.
But whoever I'm fighting at WrestleMania Backlash, I'm top locking Charlotte, just so you know. This was followed by Drew versus Zayn Part 2. But Zayn's not afraid this time.
Sure.
By Zayn being afraid this time. Good headbutt spot. Just a little bit of a brawl outside, and then he ran away again. You know, he didn't get to his wanted.
It'll be a cage match Backlash, probably.
What I thought they were going to announce for next week, but they've gone Lumberjack, haven't they? But that's what I thought they were going to announce, and I was going, that's really dramatic, going from you running off to cage match. So that was a 1-star match. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I couldn't rate it any higher than that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really go long enough either. I mean, I'm sure the ref was counting more than the two of them were actually in the ring.
Minutes and 39 seconds according to cage match. I don't know if that's official. I think they are with the cage match. I think they get the official times. This was followed by Ricochet versus Jinder Mahal, which was a Ricochet squash match. Ricochet won a squash match. He's been squashed the last few weeks, but he got his squash back. Which I was really surprised, because Jinder, haven't seen much Jinder in the last few years, which was I've been rating for like 3 years, like on a lot of my database thing, and I've seen 7 matches of Jinder Mahal in 3 years, whereas Matt Riddle I've seen 81. There's a big difference, yeah.
Lest we forget, former WWE champion Jinder Mahal, who beat Shinsuke Nakamura 3 pay-per-views in a row.
Don't hinder the Jinder. They're hindering the Jinder. That's what. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing with him. Match, but it wasn't. I rated this lower than, because it annoyed me. I rated it lower than the Drew McIntyre match, which I rated 3/4 because it's a match and it just didn't happen. Then there was a promo backstage with the British-ish with Sheamus, Butch, and I'm all on board of Butch now. I don't care. I love it. It's just so stupid. It's good.
The only thing that really wound me up about this was, like, at one point they're like, oh my god, we've lost Butch, even though Sheamus watched him walk off. But they actually sell it like, oh my god, we've lost him, where did he go? Sheamus was looking at him as he walked away.
That way, if you remember, that's not how cameras work in wrestling. As soon as you get past the camera, they don't exist.
I know, but still, we all knew and found out soon enough where he went to. Because
Before he announced that, Butch's first words were the "New Day," and that was it. And then Butch disappears, and then it skims to Xavier Woods and Cody sitting down. Not Cody, Kofi sitting down. Just I think they're doing sewing-ins, and then Butch comes out of nowhere, and I couldn't believe it.
What I loved was the fact that the cue for him jumping him was a Will Smith reference talking about the remake of G.I. Jane. So that's what they
took him out.
That's what they used as like the verbal cue for the beat for the jump. Right.
Out as well. So yeah, Butch nearly kills Woods. Then there was a Lacey segment again, which they're building up to Lacey Evans, not Edwards. Lacey
I'm
Evans.
really liking these, like having the American background and the somber music underneath it took away from it. I know they were trying to like enhance it and get more people behind it, but the red, white, and
American thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the red, white, and blue in the background almost took away from it for me.
Typical thing though, it's like the USA chants. It's just like we have to thrust America on you. That's what it feels like. It's probably obviously in America they're more used to it, but us we don't really want to see the American flag just thrust in my face because it didn't mean anything to me. It's the British flag was thrust in my face. We were in Britain.
Full time.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good segment. She basically through that she had Dag, who was a bit of an angry guy. He was very harsh towards them. They ran away. Good life. But yeah, I'm to coming back. It's going pretty well at the moment. If their builder is a big, because I liked some of her matches. Like she's quite all rated on my boards. Like she had good matches, especially stuff with Becky Lynch and so forth. Like so, her with this character is going to be even better. And then to the main event, which was Riddle versus Jimmy.
Oh, if you hold on, they really clumsily cut the Natalia and Shayna backstage.
In here, I've just skipped past it.
And it's like really awkward because they're talking about like how bad that is and like how tacky she is for doing that. But way to undercut that.
Really, really happy Raquel. Like, gone from being a badass in NXT to the most smiley person in the world, and it's going to be one of these gimmicks where she's smiley until she's in the ring and she's going to kill people.
Yeah, and she's really rolling the R's on Raquel Rodriguez. Like,
yeah, I've just deciphered what Raquel's really, really Mexican now. Really Mexican. Not
didn't
just
speak
Mexican.
like that in NXT at all. Like she spoke normally.
She had a
normally
accent.
like American accent. Yeah. But she really rolled the R's in the intro segment there.
Riddle versus Jimmy. Jimmy was for a lot of this match. Like for some reason, Riddle's getting battered all the time. It doesn't matter if it's a singles match or a tag team match. I understand tag team because Randy's the one that's going to be the comeback king. But yeah, absolutely battered. Then it was a typical Riddle comeback. The knees up on I think it was the floating bro. The knees up on that looked horrific when he hit it. Like it just because swanton, like anything that lands on the back, on the stomach, it looks all right. Like as in, it looks like it'll be fine to take. On the back, it just looks painful. Distraction, and then Riddle hit the RKO one.
A really nice RKO, like put him up like the way that Cesaro used to do for the uppercut, but like chucked him up into the RKO. And you could tell from Randy's reaction he wasn't expecting that. And Randy popped for it, which was nice.
It was a decent match. Like, it didn't get past the average mark for me. Like, I put it as 2.25. I think the women's match, I think I rated Naomi and Rio was my match of the night, which is weird enough because it wasn't the great. It was just an average, but it was good for what was there. But I think this could have been a lot better than it was.
Yeah. And the two do have good chemistry, but in a main event segment with the time they had, you would expect more, but even at that, it still felt rushed and compressed, which is typical WWE TV match.
Rounded off, we've got Gordon the Whale again because he hates SmackDown, it seems.
Of course.
The boring usual tag teams are feuding, so let's do singles matches between every member, except to see the Orton versus the other Uso at some point next week. We'll just go throughout the motions like Riddle and Uso did today. Yeah.
I get what you're saying about like the tag teams are feuding must have singles matches. Like that's fair enough. Like that is fair criticism because that is what they do every time tag teams are feuding. I doubt it's have single matches in there, but I wouldn't have said the match was bad by any stretch.
I think I'd rather see singles matches than what's happening on Raw, where it's just the same tag teams fighting. They're not even having singles matches; it's just tag matches all the time with the same three people, which we'll go through in a moment. But yeah, into SmackDown, it was not great. Just there.
I would agree. Like it wasn't as bad as Raw. We'll get to that, but certainly I had to rewatch it again because I watched it on Saturday morning. I had to rewatch it again this morning because I couldn't remember anything that happened on it.
Oh, because I remember you saying you watched Raw and you forgot what happened on Raw, which was like a minute later. Yeah, so we're on to Rampage and Battle of the Bounce, which I haven't seen, so I'm just going to let you take away.
Yeah, so let me just get my notes up 2 seconds.
Football at all, because it's making me sad.
Yeah. Okay, so it opened up with the Gun Club, who apparently had a perfect 24-0 record like prior to this, against Blackpool Combat Club, with Wheeler Yuta joining the team in action for the first time. Good little back and forth. You can tell that Colton and Austin are getting a lot better. Their selling's quite good. They're bumping around quite well now. And Billy usually comes in like a house of fire and a big horse. Didn't have as much interaction with Bryan Danielson as I would have liked. But it did put Wheeler over strong, getting the pin on Billy. It was quite a good match. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But I'd want to see a bit more because it wasn't really the showcase of Wheeler I was expecting it to be.
It was just a run of the mill match.
Yeah, it was like house show trios match really. That was followed up by the Butchers squashing a local talent. Not much to say on that. I know I said a while ago I wanted to see more Butcher, just purely because I like every time I die. Anytime I get to hear the theme, I'm happy, but wasn't the best match. Well, I've seen worse squash matches. Then it was an Owen Hart Foundation qualifier match between Ruby Riott and what was her name again? Robin Renegade. Must have been one of the YouTube show girls because I didn't recognise her.
Yeah, Renegade.
They had a good match with Riott giving her far more of the match than I would have thought. Considering I barely knew who Renegade was, there were several points where I thought, but they're actually going to have Riott not even qualify. Whereas it should have been quite academic. And in this match, found out she's got a twin sister who cannot wrestle. They did the kind of traditional Bella twins, twin magic spots.
Yeah, the Renegade twins, they're called. I can't remember. Robin's the one who's in the match. Charlotte Renegade, is it?
Yeah, Robin Renegade, alliteration makes sense. Charlotte Renegade just doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Renegade, because it'll be Ruby Soho versus Ruby Renegade, and it'll be ruined.
Aye. But yeah, there were several points where when the sister came in, she looked so awkward getting up for the moves. It didn't look like she knew what she was doing. And then they switched again after the right kick was hit.
Yeah.
But then Ruby hit her kind of flatliner kind of finish and qualified for the tournament. It started off well before the twin magic stuff. And instead of it enhancing the match because it's something different, it seemed like a poor imitation of the Bellas, which is poor in itself. And there will never be a better twin magic spot than Eric Angle, which is the benchmark of twin magic. And after that, it was the Texas Death Match. We didn't cover it in the news because I wanted to wait until we discussed it here. But it's your typical AEW hardcore match.
Yeah.
Though it was weird seeing Hangman bleeding from his chin. I don't know what caused it. They say it was from that weird moonsault with the chair spot. He caught himself with the leg of the chair. But even that spot itself seemed dead contrived when it would have been much better just launching himself with the chair instead of like backflipping and just gently tapping him with the chair, barely making contact. Was
it proper Texas Deathmatch or was it just called a Texas Deathmatch?
Yeah, but there was a lot of like genuine heat. I would class it as a traditional Texas death match, but their previous matches were much better than this one, I think. This one, it just seemed there was a few spots that just didn't look right. And of course, the finish coming from Hangman initially wrapping his own arm with the barbed wire, hitting him a couple times, and then putting a crown of thorns on him on Good Friday. Now, obviously, you don't need to be like Christian or anything to know, like, famously, Good Friday is the day that like Jesus was crucified wearing the crown of thorns. So that obviously caught a lot of backlash from anyone that is against AEW, but a lot of sponsors and regular wrestling pundits who are writing to sponsors in order to get their views on it. Wasn't John Alba, it was a different one. Can't remember which one specifically, but he said he was going to be contacting all the sponsors for a statement and to make sure they were aware of that. Honestly, if Excalibur hadn't pointed out it was a crown of thorns,
I would have noticed.
No one would have really bothered about it because it was all set up to do the dead eye for the table, so he's landing on his head on the barbed wire through the table. But the fact that it was pushed home that it was the crown of thorns, apparently it's kicked up a bit of a hornet's nest.
Yeah, I hadn't heard much about it, to be honest.
It was discussed quite a lot on Twitter from what I saw. But you know what Twitter's like.
Yeah, Twitter's a toxic wasteland of anything. Anything that happens, everyone's on it.
Yeah. Though where you won't find bad tweets is at honor_club on Twitter. So give that a follow.
Depends on what's going on.
But yeah, of course, Hangman retained after Adam Cole couldn't answer the 10 count. It was a good match. I just don't put it up against their previous world title match. And hopefully we can get Adam Cole away from doing like world title contention stuff. And I think speculating that the announcement on Wednesday, tomorrow night, that Tony Khan's advertised for Dynamite, trios titles.
Aye.
It's been rumored and speculated for the longest time. They've got the deepest roster of trios of any company in the world. It makes sense. The trios titles on which Underground were brilliant. Like some of your best. I enjoyed it.
I think there's just too much going on in AEW for it. Just like there's so much going on.
Well,
Just to add trios titles into there as well.
the way I see it is they're having these like trios matches and feuds anyway. So there's nothing wrong with putting belts in there and making them mean even more.
I'm not a big fan of the trios matches anyway that AEW do.
Yeah, so that was Rampage. That was followed up the following night with Battle of the Belts. Starting off with the TNT Championship match between Sammy Guevara and Scorpio Sky, who's the ingoing champion. The crowd were shitting over Sammy the whole time,
Good.
like relentlessly booing. Doesn't matter what spot he tried to do. Like they even booed a shooting star press off, like from the top to the outside. That's him. And they
Just
cheered
because
when Paige
it's
Van
go
Sant.
white.
Yeah, they cheered when Paige Van Sant came out to battle Tay Conti on the ramp, and then booed when Tay got the upper hand.
What they'll do is they'll turn him heel, and then they'll think the heel hates because they want to boo, but it'd be more of we just don't want to see him. It's not.
Yeah, and of course he wins with a low blow into the GTH. Sorry, the Feast Your Eyes, because he's a move thief. Not that you get to see T-Bar's finish anymore, but
I don't get to see T-Bar anymore.
well, he is on Raw. We'll talk about that.
Is he? Oh no, I ain't talking about that. That segment I didn't see him off. I didn't see that segment.
Oh, I'll make sure it comes flooding back to you. Don't you worry.
I didn't see that segment. I'm gonna be honest. As soon as I saw it happen, it was I ain't watching this.
So
As a dedicated journalist.
So yeah, 3-time champ Sammy Guevara. Crowd did not like this result. And I feel a bit bad for Scorpio Sky because yeah, he's got his title that he deserved. He's a vet who's caught on well, but I don't know what else to say about it. Hopefully, him and Ethan Page now make a run for the tag titles.
It's just because the TNT title's in the mud, the TNT title. The amount of times it's been changed is silly.
It's always changed back to the same people.
That's the 10th holder of the TNT title.
Yeah, and you've got 2 3-time champions.
So, like, except for Miro, Darby Allin held it 186 days, and Miro held it 140. And it's been 35 Cody, 42 Sammy, 37 Scorpio, and then 4 Sammy again. So they're holding it for like a couple of months now. It's just there.
Mm-hmm. So that was followed up by a significantly better match, though quite short for an ROH title match, between Jonathan Gresham and Dalton Castle. Now, a lot of the time in the past, whenever I've been told to go and check out Ring of Honor, it's been what I can find on YouTube, and normally the entrances and stuff are cut out.
Yeah.
This was the first time I noticed that Dalton Castle's theme is basically like a remix knockoff of Radio Gaga by Queen.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. I absolutely love his theme. I've now downloaded it onto my phone. It's a good little mix. But he does have a brilliant entrance. How he's not signed with AEW or WWE, I don't know.
With the boys.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the boys is a bit on the nose for WWE, but just his presence, the way he carries himself, he'd fit into WWE quite well, I think. I think there was actually talk of him going to WWE when he first dropped the ROH title, wasn't there?
When that was when like
Just
he was
before
in charge
COVID.
and he was hoovering stuff up, but now you
Mm.
know to it. Oh, Jimmy, I just saw the football score.
Yeah, I saw the team. Someone posted it in one of the groups. Yeah, but it's not going to work out well for them.
It's not working.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Anyway, tangent aside, the match is really good. Gresham's tiny, but he's believable.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, like he may be only 5'4", but he is solid. Though getting him into the octopus looked a bit clunky. But once he was in, it was a tap. But it was really short for an ROH World Title match. I think it only went
9 minutes.
9 minutes. Yeah. Which normally that's like the workhorse title is 30 minutes is a short ROH title match normally. So seeing it like given 9 minutes was quite surprising.
The main event, because I said I haven't watched this, but the main event looks like it went 15 minutes nearly. The main event, which I didn't want to see this match at all, because I don't know if it was any good.
I'll talk about that in a minute. But obviously after the Gresham retains, you hear Lethal's music hit, and out comes big basketball dude, Satnam Singh. They're about to lay waste to Gresham. Then Samoa Joe's music hits, out with a lead pipe, chases him off. What is funny is the fact that Sonjay Dutt was kind of stumbling to get out, so Joe had to kind of hesitate a few times with the metal pole. So could have easily got him like 3 or 4 times, but it was like
Back at 11.
it was almost like the big bad in a horror movie chasing someone. But obviously he ran them off, making a big deal of trying to restrain Satnam Singh, which two tiny guys like Lethal and Dutt successfully holding back a 300-pound, 7'3" guy is quite laughable for a believability standpoint. But yeah, all depends on what they're planning on doing with this. It's a very WWE move the way they're bringing in the big Indian guy as a heel in order to get eyes in India. It just seems very.
They could have brought in the Great Khali. So.
So that was followed up by the women's title match. It started off quite well, but as the match went on, Nyla Rose looked like she was gassed. Really slowed down. There was a lot. You could see a lot of discussion in between spots as well, like doing the kind of typical double down arm over or in the corner like that. When you know what to look for, it becomes dead obvious. It didn't seem like they were either trying to find some way of covering for Nyla Rose being gassed and coming up with an alternate finish. Every time you saw her move, it almost seemed a bit Nia Jax-ish at times. Do you remember kind of early?
That's a harsh comment, that is.
It is, and I've seen much better Nyla Rose matches, which is why I'm highlighting this. I'm not saying this to throw shade upon her by any means. For the most part, I quite like Nyla Rose, but she's in this match particularly looked like she'd kind of blown up about halfway through.
She went 10 plus minutes. That's recorded. Was 17th of November. So every other match has been pretty much like a 2-minute, 3-minute squash match. So that's probably what it is.
But it put me in mind of, you Do you remember from NXT the Bayley and Nia Jax match? Where it really seemed like do a big spot. Wait, what do I do next? Oh yeah, do a big spot. Like there was no kind of joined up between the moves.
Yeah, it didn't flow.
Yeah, there was no flow to this, and I know both women are capable of better, which is why I was quite disappointed with this. But as everyone saw coming, Thunder Rosa did retain with her it was kind of weird DDT kind of move, if I recall right. It wasn't her usual finish. But yeah, that was Battle of the Belts. It was kind of obviously it was just a kind of network special thing. It wasn't pay per view or anything, but I would have switched the world title and women's title times. Not necessarily changed them in their position in the card, but would have certainly given the ROH title match more time.
Although having a main event, most main events have to go a bit longer, don't they? I think that's what AEW follow. But the main event is a long match. And then if you've got a match like that, it's just not going to work.
Even if they had gone 12 and 12, as opposed to 9 and 15, that would have worked.
Trouble as well, if you're having someone like Jonathan Gresham and Dalton Castle fight before you as well, like that match is always going to be a decent match. So it's I would add that first, and then had something like Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio and just get a boo match, so they don't mind the main event.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting anything newsworthy to come out of this. But of course, Sammy getting the title back kind of almost soured me on the rest of the show. I think that's why I was like so down on Gresham and Castle only getting 9 minutes. I felt like they already killed the crowd by putting Sammy on it, and then they only give the crowd 9 minutes of an ROH title match.
I'm still looking forward to see what they do with Ring of Honor. There's no kind of hint of what they're doing yet, is there?
No, not yet. Though it could be the Indian show. Remember Rinka King and their relationship with TNA?
Yeah.
Part of me is dead worried that Warner Media will want to, after their merger, because apparently they were big proponents of the Satnam Singh spots, whether they're going to make ROH the kind of Indian show. I don't know how that would work though.
Show.
Yeah, just similar to the way Rinka King was for TNA back in the early 2010s. But yeah, that's all the AEW stuff, so it just leaves Raw left to cover.
It's Raw. It's the most depressing ending to this podcast because it's just me going, "What is happening? Why is this happening? Why is nothing happening?" But yeah, so Raw started off with Rollins. Flooding back, I only watched it like 12 hours ago, and I just hated it so much. Not the Rollins bit, but just the Raw. So it's Rollins. We invited Cody down. Seth sounds fake. Like, I've been enjoying it. Part he just sounded so fake and acted, and it was annoying me. I don't know why. I normally like Seth, but it sounded so overhypedly fake.
I don't know. It does still sound like Seth, but there was a few Vince lines in there. Like,
it's just overacted. Seth basically made Cody a star after that match. He said he just started talking down at Cody Rhodes and said he's done all of the things. He's won this, he's won that, he's done all of the things. And then the only reason Rollins lost at WrestleMania because it was a mystery opponent. Unless you read the dirt sheets, he should have read the dirt sheets. Then he would have known. So basically, he challenges Cody to do the exact same thing. So he's going to announce a mystery opponent fight for the night. I already knew who the opponent was because I copy and pasted the cage match to my website, and then I looked at the opponent and didn't realise this would be a thing. So I already know who the opponent was. So that ruined everything. So yeah, it was fine. It was a good kickoff. This was followed by the tag team match we were all waiting for: Naomi and Banks versus Morgan and Ripley for the tag team titles. This match, I was really enjoying it, and then it just finished. Like, it's actually pretty decent. It's going to go, it's finished. And they finished. I know it's like the Bubba Bomb, like getting in. It just didn't seem like a finish. It seemed like, and it was on Ripley as well. It was like Ripley beaten by a Bubba Bomb. Yeah, didn't feel it. Like, it should have been better than it was. It was still good for the women's the tag team match, especially to say, because the women's matches at the moment they've just been throwing like minutes in there, and this was a decent. It was only 7 minutes, but it was better than most. Like, I rated it 2.5. It just felt like it was getting good, and then it just happened.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was more just to set up the post match. Like, this match had to happen in order for the post match angle to take place. So really just felt like, let's get this out the way and done. It didn't feel like there was any kind of danger whatsoever of them losing the titles.
One-on-ones who won it, and it was supposed to happen last week, but then Rhea had the situation. Yeah, Derek Joist, I'm going to go with. Of all the matches I've seen, this was certainly one of them, which was pretty much my explanation. That it was just, and all the post lines I've seen, this combines being expected and disappointing more than most. WWE simply can't manage to book tag teams properly. He goes on for another 10 minutes, but I'm not reading all that. And then this followed up with basically speaking to Rhea, Ripley blaming Liv and saying, "Where were you?" even though Ripley lost.
Yeah.
He turned on Liv, which we all expected.
Yep. At least I speculated at this point it's not like a proven thing, but at least she's gonna be doing something cool, I think, in joining the new brood, as long as they tone down the kind of spooky stuff.
But we'll get to that. Jesus wept.
Yeah.
So this was followed by Sonya segment. Sonya basically said she was forced into the position she was in. She was forced to become. I wish I could be forced to management. You know. Just like Sonya getting herself over as the heel, saying she was forced to do all this. Bianca's coming down, but Bianca can't do an angry face, so she has to do the twirly, happy hair thing. She can't be angry. Like, they need times. It's just good to just walk down to the ring. You don't need to start spinning your hair at every flipping moment.
Yeah.
Like, she should be annoyed. They've attacked her from, and she's still coming down like this. Bianca did the typical like Rocky Five. Is it Rocky Five? Where they went, "Touch me, I'll sue," basically, which was if you do anything, you're not getting this.
Yeah, it was like when she was feeling with Naomi, as long as I'm wearing this jacket, I'm a WWE official.
And then grabbed her in the KOD, and then it was funny because she's in the KOD and Deville's trying to speak into Mark, going, "Run me down, you know what's going to happen." So yeah, that was a thing. I don't mind it. I like Sonya Deville. It's just the story's a bit weak, but I'm looking forward to the match.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm a bit of a mark for Sonya Deville. I've always enjoyed her like promos and ring work. This wasn't one of her strongest promos, but it was still really good. And I quite like the kind of backstage stuff that happens throughout the show off the back of this as well.
I haven't written most of this down when it comes to that segment, but if there's anything missing, you have to let me know. This was Veer versus Jeff Brooks. It was always going to be a Veer squash match. I rated quarter. It was just there. Nothing happened afterwards. It was just to get him over.
Yeah, felt like it all ended a bit prematurely. Well, of course, ended it quite quick in the cervical clutch.
And then they did a weird scene afterwards as well, where they got the guy, like it's a random guy, Jeff Brooks, and they're showing him going to the ambulance. It was weird. It was like he was actually a main, like it was like it was Dominic Mysterio getting the ambulance. I don't know why they were showing it.
Yeah, I mean,
Just jobber.
they really need to change the name of the finisher.
Of course,
They really need to change the name of it. It's yes, cervical can mean neck, but it also is the part of female genitalia as well. Obviously, we're trying to be a bit more PG around the swearing to see if that helps with.
I haven't swore at all yet, which is
I think I let one slip, but
don't worry. In the last, I'm just going to end it, and I'm just going to say the C word as we go by. But yeah, so that happened. I rated it quarter. It was just it wasn't worthy of a 0, but it was just there. And there was a segment with Pierce and DeVille where basically she's saying she needs to be fined. Is it going to be like 50 grand, 100 grand, $1 million? $1. She got fined, and then Pierce was basically like, yeah, no, she got fined.
Yeah, and Sonya Deville's going to be investigated for abuse of her power.
Which is fair enough, because she's abusing her power. She's got a title match.
It's the kind of thing that Vince McMahon would approve of, so I don't think that's going to go very far.
Oh. This was followed up by the KO lie detector test.
I shouldn't love this, but I do. I think it's brilliant.
KO is the one that makes it because he's acting. It's just it's just some of it's so stupid, but it's funny. It's like we got the smartest man, so basically anyone that's smart can do a lie detector test. That was the description. As long as you're intelligent, you can work a lie detector test. So basically, they're asking him some certain questions, which was, what's the colour of the sky? Blue. What's today's date to get the opposite effect, which I think he said it's Tuesday, or is it Monday? I don't know what the question was, but he lied.
It's the baseline questions anyway.
Yeah, the baseline questions. Then he asked, are you Elias? Said no. And
do you want to hear Zeke speak?
Oh God, here's Zeke speak. Then they asked him if he's got an older brother or a younger brother. Is Elijah his older brother? That's who it is, isn't it?
Elias is his big brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he basically he said no. Yeah, he said yes. That is his. And then it was passed. He passed it. So I wrote proof enough for me. I'm all on board for that.
I just love the fact that it's all designed to gaslight Kevin Owens.
So then Chad Gable was like, yeah, he's passed it. I don't know what you want. He's definitely not Elias. And then Chad Gable attacked. As you know, I don't know why. He was happy with him and he went, you know what, I'm going to attack him. This led to Chad versus Ezekiel. It was a bit back and forth. It wasn't an Ezekiel squash match. They actually got a bit of stuff in between each other. Notice attacked Ezekiel and it was just a DQ.
Now, obviously, with Elias, it was all about like his packaging, his presentation, his promos, his performances and stuff. I really didn't care for him in the ring at all. And that's the one bit about his character that's kind of worrying me a bit is the fact that he is white bread in the ring. Absolute white bread, like absolutely. Nothing of
as soon as he ran off, though, as soon as it started and he did that leap, it looked awkward as hell. I don't know what line he's been. I don't know. But I rated that 2 stars. Like, it was just average. It was back and forth, but there was nothing to it to kind of push it past the limit. It went 3 minutes and a half, and then Otis attacked.
Yeah.
And then the match we've not seen yet came up next, which was R-Cade Bro versus the Street Profits.
Yeah,
I've seen that match yet.
I've not seen that in 6-7 days.
Like all I wrote here, it was still fine as a match, but literally the only thing I wrote was same for me, a different ending. It was just the same thing. Riddle gets his ass kicked,
and Profits back to being slightly heelish.
He comes in a bit of a comeback. Uso's music hits, which is a different formula, and then they lose because of the distraction, basically. We're at 2.25 stars, but it's just the same match over and over and over again.
Yeah.
There's no difference to it. This is the first match that has a cage match rating because, it's the only match that's went above 7 seconds. We'll go with Rocky 7. Same teams, same matches. I do appreciate the message. The match tried to send with the I'm guessing tried to send. I'm going to go with that. Match tried to send with the Street Profits considering themselves contenders. Tried to end. I'm guessing that was supposed to be. But the slog towards R-Cade Bro versus the USO continues.
Yeah. The definition of keeping a plate spinning.
So that was that. Then we had this weird Edge versus Priest promo. Edge versus Edge with Priest promo.
Yeah, it opens with Priest actually saying what we're all thinking of. What happened last week? And they still don't answer.
Selves, they don't know how to work it out and go, this is the logical reason why this happened.
So I will say that Edge is still a master promo. Because obviously it almost made it feel like it was all supposed to be canon. That he was harnessing his early broods in Ministry of Darkness.
I just wasn't a fan.
Yeah, if they drop the supernatural stuff, then it'll be absolutely fine. Dark brood and goth characters will be great. They don't all have to be spoopy.
Just like they said some lines like you needed to be reminded of me. It's like Edge, I don't need to be reminded who Edge is. Edge is Edge.
I forgot during this segment I was meant to be doing it in the blue light.
Yeah, we're all spooky for this part of the segment. Yes. I can't read my notes. This is a bad idea.
So basically from here they attack, they get AJ Styles' reaction to it backstage. The lights flick in and out before turning this beautiful shade of blue you see on my side. Obviously this is for the ones watching on YouTube as opposed to on Apple and Spotify. Apologies, but yeah, though he is nice enough when he sees the lights flickering to tell Sarah Schreiber to leave. So at least he was nice enough to give her, obviously had enough warning to be able to get her clear.
Just left himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just some of it's a bit pants. Before that was about to happen, Theory was coming down to the ring, but they did the typical thing, we need to do something else while Theory's standing in the ring randomly, so they did that. Theory versus Balor, I was looking forward to. It was just like a 10-minute Theory squash match. Nothing.
Yeah, all I could think throughout this is I'm happy for Theory because it's good to see a young star actually get more than a 3-week push. And looks like they are trying to make him a star, which is great. Really sad that it's at the expense of Balor.
It wasn't even like Balor wasn't even competitive in this match, and they made it last 10 minutes. Like he's getting battered. There was a cool springboard Spanish Fly part. Just a long squash match. Like Balor didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They were trying to book Omos. That's what it is, a better version of Omos with Theory. Like he's bat. Like it was still fine as a match. I'm so sad. It was an average match of 2.5, but it was an average. It was the best squash match I've ever seen.
See if all this story was against Ricochet and not Balor, wouldn't have a problem with it. Like if it was literally Intercontinental title and not US.
At least with Ricochet, he's winning the title matches. Just more battering.
Obviously, I was quite saddened by this, but of course, when Theory does win, the heel locker room empties with all the stars of the day that aren't even big enough names to chase the 24/7 title.
I completely fit there. I thought you were on about the 24/7. Yeah, T-Bar was holding him aloft, weren't he? I completely.
T-Bar and Aziz.
Grief.
Yeah, so like all the not even cool enough to be in the 24/7 title picture, right, to lift them up and cheer with them. which is a bit silly, but of course the real selling point is Vince coming out to shake his hand after. Of course, before Vince shakes his hand, Theory wipes a huge big bit of sweat off his head. He uses the same hand to shake his hand. So Vince obviously got a nice big sweaty hand, which must have been lovely.
Theory's not going to win a match forever now because of that. Vince doesn't like sneezing, let alone sweat hand. But yeah, so that was that. And Vince was happy, which is all that matters.
Audience have
next. I'm not this, so I'm assuming that was the 24/7 thing. I'd have skipped the shit out of it. Oh, I swore. I skipped the hell out of that. It was just I didn't care.
There was a couple little funny bits, like right at the start, R-Truth was calling Dana Brooks. She corrects him and says, "No, it's Dana Brooke." And she put so much emphasis on the K that I thought she was on an episode of Brookside. And obviously they get through the vows, they do the kind of traditional, there was issues with trust, but we're over it now, our love's grown stronger for it. And Tamina just goes, what she said. Tozawa goes, same. It was like, if you're into like the silly fluff, then it was good. And of course, everyone tried to pin everyone, but Dana Brooke eventually comes out on top, retaining, with R-Truth carrying her out. And R-Truth.
The marriage happened? Did the marriage bit happen, or is that?
Well, they use the terms "you are now committed." Didn't say man and wife at any point.
Okay.
But obviously it's R-Truth that carries her out after she retains. Doesn't attempt to pin her at any point, even though he arranged this wedding and arranged officiating it as a way for him to be able to get the title. Didn't make a single attempt.
Because wrestling.
Yeah, apparently.
But yeah, so I'm not watching that. This was followed by we're having a promo with Omos and Lashley, and there's going to be an arm wrestling match next week. Excited.
You don't remember the Omos doing the big hand to the camera, and it just fades back to Bobby, almost like they weren't expecting the camera to come back on them. It was just so awkward looking.
I was getting bored of Raw. What was happening?
I don't blame you.
Then it was Cody versus Owens, which was just a massive Owens squash match that he somehow lost in the end. Owens did nothing for the whole match. Lawler was healing it up, which I enjoyed because he was replacing. He was just doing the old school 90s healing, which I enjoyed.
Jerry almost made this Raw unwatchable for me. I don't like Corey, but I actually nearly missed him on commentary this week. That's how bad thing was.
Seth's music hit halfway through. Here as Cody hit a move, and this was probably about 12 minutes into the match. Went for the crossroads, that was stopped. And I can't remember what happened, but it ended up with Owens and Seth arguing outside, and then Owens walking off, and then Cody won by a count out. It was Raw.
Yeah, that was the perfect sour cherry on the melted ice cream. To have two guys like Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes who could have an absolute banger given time and stakes on that and have it end like that. It was a kind of wet fart of a finish to the whole show.
Especially, they made Cody seem like he couldn't wrestle. Well, literally 17 minutes or whatever it went. It was just Cody getting absolutely battered. I don't know. I can understand the story slightly, but it was just I didn't care by the end of it. I was just happy it was over. And then Seth pushed Cody off the ropes. That was the end of Raw. And then there you go. That's an upbeat end to my reviews.
Yep, Raw certainly happened.
Yep, it was a thing that happened.
So, show of the week for me was, I'd say of the week, because obviously we did Dynamite and stuff last week. But since our last show, Rampage was the best show for me, but even that had a couple good bits to it. But this weekend's wrestling wasn't particularly great in my view.
No, it's trash.
Obviously, both companies are in that kind of lull period between pay-per-views as well. So they're just keeping plates spinning and trying to prolong things until Backlash for WWE. And what is the next pay-per-view for AEW? Is it Double or Nothing?
It's Revolution. Oh yeah, it will be May. Yeah, Double or Nothing's normally in May, so yeah, it will be. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that's why they're putting on so many pay-per-view quality shows, because they've got nothing actually building towards the pay-per-view yet. If you think about it,
shows.
They've just paid off the world title and women's title feuds. They've just changed the TNT title. Nothing happening with TBS.
Hero's going to come back and beat Sammy. That's what I want in my life.
But
back from the void.
yeah, so both shows aren't doing anything particularly special at the moment. So it's kind of hard to pick a winner overall. But it's wrestling sometimes. I'm sure it'll pick up.
It was AEW either way, because I can't. Even though I didn't watch AEW this week, I accept that Raw and SmackDown were pants.
I'm sure it'll pick
anything
up
could
again.
be worse. I hope so. I've been made to review it every week now. I hope so.
So just a reminder to y'all, we are of course here on YouTube. Please give us a like, subscribe, and comment what you thought was the best show or match of the week. And positive thoughts go out to our co-host, who we hope is back with us soon. And as a reminder as well, we are also on Apple and Spotify via Podbean. All links will be shared out in our Discords and on Twitter at Honor_Club. And that's Honor with a U, because we're British.
We are.
Though I have set it up so you can find it with the American HONOR spelling as well.
That's outrageous. What are we bowing down to America?
We should have thought this through with our branding, let's be fair.
I didn't think anything through. This was supposed to be called Right Goon at one point, so remember that podcast, Right Goon?
Makes sense, because their win record is about the same as your win record in FPL.
To be fair, the only win record that counts is not even here right now.
True. But yeah, that's our show, everyone. Thanks for checking in. We do have some exciting projects coming up soon. We hope to put out more details on the Discord as and when those plans are nailed down and timings are worked out. And our Discord link is now live in the description below, so feel free to join our Discord as well. So all that's left for me to say is thank you all for listening. Ray, have you any final words for our audience out there? I believe you have frozen.
With one moment, because the Discord is free as I'm trying to find this. Still here if we can hear me.
Yeah, you're
Can
back.
you still hear me?
Yeah, you're back, mate.
Okay, this is my final. With the advance of technology, go F yourself. There you go, that's my final cheeky baby tweet.
I knew there was a reason I created that room.
I tell you, the last word I was going to get was a swear word as we left, but I decided against it.
Ah, bless. Thank you. Right. Thanks, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next time.